Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another edition of Walking with J.Beau, and almost daily walking vlog. And almost one because I don't walk every day. Almost every day. But not quite every day. But this time of year, I'm lucky to walk once or twice a week. I say that because today, until a few minutes ago, we had some nice bright sunshine. I hope that comes back. Doesn't look like it will. But we'll take what we get. Anyway, I am so happy to be with you today. I hope you are enjoying this fine Thursday. It is a fantastic, happy day. Now, why would you say that? Well, it's been a few days since I've walked, and we've had some things happen, like the media finally accepting, it seems like anyway, that their constant bashing of Trump and ridiculousness is costing them viewers. Trump won the popular vote. He won the majority of the country. And he won on most of the majority of the topics of problems that need to be solved. People are tired of the negativity. They're tired of the poisoning of our democracy with hate, vitriol, and political division. And I am seeing a shift in the media. So, in the past, I firmly believe when a young man who has had a bad back and back injury and he hates the insurance company goes and assassinates the CEO of an insurance company, that the media would have said something without actually saying it, but they would have said, good, he deserved it. He's a greedy, rich SOB making people's lives miserable. His policies are responsible for people getting screwed by insurance companies. He deserved what he got, is what the media would say. Well, I don't say that. I don't say that because murder is murder, and murder is never the answer for anything. That's why we have a justice system. That's why we don't point at people and say, that person looks like the person that did that crime, let's string him up. That's not who we are. It's not what we do. That's Wild West stuff. And that's why people are so upset that the left has abused our justice system for politics. Because that is a fragile thing that keeps countries together. Whole nations as a unified nation. And they violated that. So I think that has a lot to do with the media not siding with the person that did this crime. So, and the reason why this is important is because you have a lot of these young people who, let's face it, a lot of these young people today are very selfish people, self-centered. They lack empathy. And, that's just not a casual observation I've made. That is from the past few years. Perfect example, like on a sports team, for example, with young people these days. In the old days, you would work hard and sacrifice for your team. And you got whatever rewards and accolades you got from that. Today, the team is second, and the person's awards and accolades come first. There has been a very terrible lack of morality in the under 30s, I'll call them. And that is what we're seeing with this kid. And I'll call him a kid because he's in his 20s, a young man. That he... Oh, we're getting little snowflakes. Don't know if you can pick that up. We're getting a few odd snowflakes. Oh, look at that. Coming from that cloud. That cloud is mad at me. So anyway, these people do things like this kid did with no regrets because the person he did it to, quote unquote, in his own words, deserved it. So this goes back to what we've seen a lot with even the media pushing it in Trump's first term, that it's okay to punch a Nazi and rhetoric like that, and then you turn around and make people that voted for Trump calling them Nazis. So put 2 + 2 together, that means it's okay to assault Trump voters because it's the right thing to do, according to these people. Obviously, I do not support that, and I have to mention that so I don't trigger an algorithm to censor my video. So anyway, we do have a moral decay in America with a bunch of selfish young people who care about nothing but themselves, and I think a lot of that centers around straying away from God. Religion, whether you love it or hate it, gives people moral structure, right and wrong, good and bad. And that is missing today. Combine that with raising your kid by sticking a cell phone in their hand and not doing your job as a parent, it's a recipe for disaster. And I know a lot of parents don't want to hear it, but allowing your children to decide things for themselves is not what you should be doing. You should hear their explanation about what they want and why they want it and why they deserve it. Then you have to be the parent and deal with that. They have software available that you can install on a cell phone where, as much as you really hate to see that and don't want to see that, if your child is texting with somebody and she or he is taking sexy photos of themselves and sharing them with people in text because she doesn't realize or he doesn't realize the implications that that could bring, and that text chats are not private. Anything you do online is not private. Everything is hackable. It doesn't matter if you use two-factor authentication, it's encrypted, whatever. If somebody has to, for legal reasons, they will get into it. And they'll do it for illegal reasons. Jeff Bezos of Amazon had the best equipment, best stuff. His personal photos having sex got hacked. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about it, all right? So anyway, that being said, as we walk by kids at recess, this should be fun. We just had a day and a half of bad weather. We had a big storm that stretched all the way from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to Maine. Millions of people got tons of rain and wind, and we did too. We watched these kids at recess and some snowflakes, and Looks like they're having fun. Playground is still the same as it used to be. Sounds like it anyway. All right, everybody. Thought I'd flip this around. Hi, everybody. It's J.Beau. How you doing today? We're gonna go on the 6-mile walk today. So anyway, what I was saying is these kids are having a good time playing at recess. And we had some really bad weather. This route that I'm walking today would have been impossible the day before yesterday because they plowed the snow. We had enough snow to plow, and there wouldn't have been any room to walk on the side of the roads. But with all the rain we had, the snow is just about all gone. We get a little bit like that on the side of the roads still, but that leaves me enough room to walk. So I'm going to go on my 6-miler today after not walking for 3 or 4 days. And I'm glad you're here with me. So I'm wearing my big puffy hoodie because even though it's 39 degrees today, it's windy and it's not a warm 39. There's a cold front going through, and we just had some snowflakes a while back there. So anyway, golly gee, what did we talk about next? Well, the weather in Maine is kind of weird to have a storm this time of year with high winds and kind of like tropical with tons of rain. But a week from today, a little less than, last year, we had a storm just like this that was a little bit worse. And that's the one where I went without power for almost a week using a generator, and it was miserable. So we do what we got to do. Fortunately, that's not what happened this time. I am thankful for that. Hopefully we can get through another winter without that happening. Yeah, so what I was talking about with the media is since the election, the dust is settling now. The media is behaving themselves more, because a lot of what they were doing before was trying to get people not to vote for them. So now that's gone by. So what they're going to do is they're going to cover Trump's presidency more fairly. And they're going to try to keep their narrative, I think, that Republicans are racist, this, that, and the other thing. Even though I'm seeing less of that. As we walk here, we've got a Trump flag there. We've got a Trump flag up ahead on a flagpole. And people voted for who they wanted. A lot of the Democrats are making a checklist figuring out where they went wrong. And I'm seeing a lot of good things. They're going to have to figure out a way to just have better policies than Republicans. Republicans always run on policies, and they don't spend a lot of time attacking Democrats until they play defense, and then they fight back. Which, thankfully, I know it sounds funny saying that, because for years Republicans never fought back. They didn't know how to get around the media. Well, now they do. They saw what Trump did. They saw how J.D. Vance handled the media. And that's the new way they're going to do things. Now, what the Democrats have lost is the media protection for their narratives and ridiculous rhetoric. Now they're being held to account for it because the voters held them to account. Voters resoundingly reject this negativity, dagger throwing, poisoning the stability of the country. And they're not blaming Republicans for that, they're blaming Democrats. And that's all we wanted, right? We talked about this many times on these walks. The Democrat Party, I said this 6 months ago, a year ago, I don't remember, on one of these walks. The Democratic Party needs to have a resounding, crashing, crushing defeat in the elections for them to make any changes and stop doing what they're doing. And we saw it. They're even giving up on the trying to make it look like Trump's win wasn't a mandate. It was. Any damn fool knows that. So the media and the Democrats, the smart Democrats, are saying this was a mandate, and we can either keep doing what we've been doing so we lose more, or we can own it. Say we screwed up. Telling somebody that doesn't agree with you that the reason why they don't agree with you is because you're a racist is not working. I saw several prominent Democrats say that this week. So they are abandoning that. Woke. They're giving up on woke. Democratic Party went woke, and they went broke. So they're going to try to match policy for policy, which is what they should have done in the first place. Instead of just ganging up on Trump, the outsider, demonizing him, prosecuting him. That didn't work for them. Americans don't like that. That's banana republic stuff. That's not what we do. So I think you're going to see an end to the lawfare, mainly because Trump's going to get sworn in. And if anybody gets prosecuted, it's going to be because they did something to deserve it. And they broke the law. And it's not going to be some piecemeal thing together to make a crime with the find me the person, then I'll find you the crime, like they did in old Soviet Russia or communist China. So, well, people get their roosters in their yard. We'll get some hens. Isn't that cool? So, yeah, so we won the election. We're getting close to Inauguration Day. We're getting there. I don't know how many days exactly. What's today, the 12th? So we still get over a month, but just about a month, a little over. And New York Stock Exchange opened today. President Trump was the first president. I'm just gonna call him a president now. He's president-elect still. He's not officially sworn in. He hasn't been inaugurated officially. But he rang the bell opening the New York Stock Exchange today. Had two big giant photos on each side of him with Time's cover for their magazine. Man of the Year. So now this is a legitimate Trump is Man of the Year. And you know that means something to Trump, who grew up, like we all did, reading Time magazine, Newsweek when it used to be good, things like that. And so I'm sure he's very happy with that. He looked happy today. And it's just amazing because it's the first president or president-elect to open the New York Stock Exchange since Ronald Reagan. And I think that's probably another reason why he wanted to do it, because the last time the Republicans had a landslide win like Trump did was Ronald Reagan. So also Ronald Reagan came into office with a bad economy, high inflation, high unemployment. People weren't happy. Jimmy Carter kind of screwed things up. I'm sure Jimmy Carter's a great guy, he's a nice person, good Christian, etc. But he wasn't a good president, okay? He was too weak. So anyway, times were different then too. We had a heavy reliance on the Middle East for fuel and oil. They held us hostage, literally. We had a hostage crisis. And they tried to continue that with Reagan, and Reagan ended that pretty quickly. Because in the words of Donald Trump, we bombed the shit out of him. So this is going to be interesting to watch. So watching the media right now, trying to find their angle they're going to use, they realize there isn't one. There isn't any angle to use other than just covering the friggin' news, okay? Just report what you see. So anyway, we're going to have the inauguration. The Trump Inaugural Committee has commissioned a famous bronze sculptor artist. They're going to make a 2-story tall fight statue for the inauguration. I don't know where the statues are going to go after the inauguration. If I were him, I'd just leave it right on the lawn in the friggin' White House and let the media figure it out. How cool would that be? So anyway, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to enjoy, for one thing. The other thing I have to think about, and I really hate saying this, they really do not want him to be president again. And it makes me wonder if any deep state people have anything planned. And you know, I really hate the conspiracy theory stuff. But there are a lot of activist people in our government who, for one, don't want to lose their job. The likelihood of them losing their job when Trump comes into office is pretty high. So what kind of traps are they laying? Landmines? What kind of things are they plotting? How far are they willing to go, right? So I've been hearing things about Project Bluebeam. I guess that's a real project. It's something the government does in the event we had an alien attack, all right? And I think that has been ramped up with the Pentagon releasing video of unidentified flying objects that they do not know what they are. They openly state that we don't have anything humanly possible to do maneuvers and things like that. They don't know what they are. And, well, I don't trust my government. So when they show us things like that, I don't trust what they're showing me, as that's what it is. It's not my fault, that's their fault. They lied to us during COVID and a great many other things. I can go way back to the Tonkin U.S. ship being attacked to get us into the Vietnam War. You can go back to, there's been a lot of documented things that have happened, including assassinating a president, that a lot of people still have questions about that nobody has answered to anyone's satisfaction. So I don't trust them. So why am I bringing this up? Well, remember I was talking to you about these flying objects in New Jersey? I'm sure you've seen them in the news by now. What are these drones, they're being called? You can hear them. They don't sound like the drones like you get on Amazon or eBay or whatever. These sound like they have like jet engines in them, you know? You can hear them. Now there's a lot of footage. Now here's the problem I have. I watched the Pentagon press briefing from the Defense Department, who thankfully we're going to have Pete Hegseth in charge of the military. I don't know who we're going to have at the State Department and the Defense Department to make these press conference announcements. But these drones, okay, they come out and they make an announcement. I'm watching the press conference, and she's talking about, she was asked point blank, is this a foreign threat? Is this something we should be worried about Is this a foreign country or entity doing this? She emphatically said, without even a delay to think about it, absolutely not. It's not. Well, then what are they? Are they the U.S. government's? Now she takes a moment and pauses. Nope, they're not ours. I'm telling you folks, these are ours, okay? Why they're doing that and why they're not telling the public has to be something ultra top secret. So there's only two possibilities. If the Pentagon is not worried about it because it's not a foreign power or adversary, and they claim it's not theirs, well, what is it? Because in my opinion, it can only be two things. It's either ours, which I believe they are, or they're lying about foreign entities to avoid conflict for some top secret reason we don't know about. We're not doing anything about it. And I saw somebody on CNN earlier that had a great idea. I don't know who this guy was, but he used to work for the United States government. He was a combat helicopter pilot with, you know, a gunship, weaponry on it and stuff. And he goes, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, let's go shoot these down, but let's investigate this. Follow them. We have the technology. Just go follow them. Because the police helicopters have gone up. And here's where it gets suspicious. The police helicopters go up. The drones sense that there is a helicopter in the area. And then the drones go dark. Their lights turn off. They go silent. And then the helicopters can't find them. So they either have cloaking devices, which would be stealth capability, which would be military. So they don't care who sees them until somebody gets close. So that's been documented. Fox News, CNN, all the news magazine outlets, they've all said that. That's fact. It's not conspiracy. So why would somebody be doing that? And why would the government not really care enough to look into it? It's because it's our government, that's why. Now, why they're doing that, we don't know. Now, if you want to get into conspiracy stuff, these drones aren't small. They're the size of a car. They're estimated to be about 6 feet long, for crying out loud. Okay, they're not small. They have technology on them that's sophisticated. You know, and like this guy, other guy I saw on TV, you know, if FedEx or Amazon were testing delivery drones and they wanted to do tests at night to see if they were capable of doing that, somebody would have come forward by now and said, yep, that's us, sorry. We didn't mean to cause all this hullabaloo. Nobody's done that. So, it's our government. Now, that's my firm opinion on it. Now, the reason why I mentioned Project Bluebeam, wow, this is really weird. Remember on the last walk we had, I talked about a supercomputer. It was either the last walk or the one before that, where there was a supercomputer that all it did was it crunched data, all the information from all of humanity, and it predicted past events, including a tsunami, earthquakes. Don't know how it does it, but it predicted an alien invasion last week. Remember I told you that? So then we start hearing about Project Bluebeam, which is the military's plan to have some sort of plan in the event, whether we were ready for it or not, to have some kind of response if there was an alien invasion, because supposedly they have, military knows there's UFOs and allegedly crashed UFOs in military possession, which is the other theory, that these drones might be reversed technology that they gleaned from crashed UFOs, and they're doing testing. Now, some of these drones are flying over sensitive military areas, so 2 + 2 would be either they're spy drones for China or Iran spying on our military, which, if that was the case, the military would have dealt with this by now. As we get the sunshine back again. So, the military just would have dealt with them by now. I think everybody knows that. It's freaking New Jersey, for crying out loud. It's not far from the capital. New York City, Pennsylvania. It's too close, you know? So somebody would have done something about it. So Project Bluebeam has to do with a space battle, a battle in space, because of military satellites and things like that, where that has to do with aliens attacking our satellites and having a space war. People have speculated that the United States would do a false, and this is conspiracy, okay? The United States would do a false flag by reverse engineering spacecraft, which we do have, and staging a fake attack in space. For what purpose? To strike the fear of God into you and I, so the deep state can get control back, and these globalists can get their control back of the planet, because they're losing it to populism. People like Trump, the French Prime Minister. The world is waking up from being woke. So, if we were one of those people that believed the pandemic was a scam to control the public through fear, and it didn't work, an alien invasion would get people's attention. Because now it's like, well, we're all vulnerable and we have to rely on the government for protection. Of course, that's a conspiracy theory, granted, but we've seen how these people work, and we've seen what they do, and it certainly would not be a shocker, would it? Neither would having another virus that is actually a real virus that would actually cause a real problem. So I'm not taking that off the table either. Now here we still have some snowbanks. Must have been shielded from the rain, from the trees. I still got room to walk though. But these snowbanks were out on the pavement previously, if you know what I mean. So now it's safe enough to walk until we get another snowstorm, and then I won't be walking this route. But I'm glad I have this route today. So I don't know if you put much thought about that into anything that I've just mentioned. It's worth thinking about. You know, because we don't trust the government, and we have a lot of technology that we don't know about. You know, perfect example is the stealth fighter and bomber. People were talking about that in the late 70s, that we were working on that. We didn't see it until the Gulf War, 1990. Some 10, 11, 12 years later, they unveiled it to the public finally. So, put that in the category of food for thought, okay? So anyway, other than that, things are going great. I was filled with so much excitement and joy watching Trump start the New York Stock Exchange this morning, just before 10 o'clock. He opened it, I think it was at 9. The clip I saw was at 9:48. That's when I watched it. Anyway, he's back. We're back. We're back in a big way. Not only did we win the damn election, we won everything. And it's looking like, you know, we're so used to the Republicans winning and then finding a way to lose. And I'm not seeing it. Speaker Johnson just put the military funding bill together. And you have to remember that the Democrats are still in control of the Senate. So House bills still have to go to the upper chamber. The upper part of Congress, the Senate, which they are all, everybody that's in the Senate is a congressman. So a lot of people don't make that distinction. So I will do so. You have the upper, which is the Senate, and then you have the lower chamber, which is the House, which is the congressman. They're two parts of the same body, legislative body. So, anyway, we got some branches in the way here. So the military spending bill included pay raises for military personnel, which is deserved, and it also included not funding for sex change operations for the family members of service members. So that means they're not going to have taxpayer dollars to transition their kid while they serve in the military and their kid is not serving in the military. So we'll see what the Democrats do with that. But that was one of the campaign promises, was to de-woke the military. It's a sign of things to come. All of that stuff is going to be gone within 4 years. So we look at a pussy willows. Still say those would be really fun to shoot with 22s, because you could see how the puffy they are, and all the seeds come off and float in the air to grow more pussy willow somewhere. That would be fun to shoot at 100 yards, so you could watch them go poof. We still have some icy water down there that melted. Still got ice in it. About 39 degrees now. The wind is dying down a little bit. I'm wearing this thick hoodie, thankfully. I got a good sweat going, but I also feel a little bit cool because it's breezy. But I was able to walk today without hiking boots. I got my nice comfortable Reeboks on because there's no ice and there's virtually no snowbanks. So anyway, we have a really good thing going. We're banging on all cylinders. Trump is hot as a pistol. And that is the other thing. That's the other thing that the media has been acknowledging, that polling is showing that right now Trump is riding a high with the public. The public is approving of his picks that he has made. And CNN and MSNBC seem to be shocked by that. Because for years they've been saying people like Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, or whatever, are Russian assets. They're detrimental to our country. They're going to harm us. They're subversives, dissidents. So and the public is like, no, they're not. And I don't think the media really knows what to do with that, other than admitting that nobody believes their bullshit anymore. Trump ran on change. He was transparent, said, I want these people. They're going to do this. We need to clean out our government. We need to clean everything out, all the rot, all the corruption. And apparently Americans know that our government is corrupt and full of rot. People go to work, they struggle paycheck to paycheck. You have government employees being paid with their tax dollars because they're living, think about it, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Your friggin' tax dollars they take out of your check are funding these people to show up to work only 9% of the time. 9.6% of the time. That's not a misstatement. (9.6% of the time. So they're collecting a salary, working less than 10% of the week, getting paid for the full week, nice cushy government job, probably have a desk with a plaque on it. And these, the government is full of bloat. And that's why, our debt is 30-something trillion dollars now, projected to be 59 trillion within a year. We just simply cannot sustain it, literally. It doesn't matter what your politics are. At some point, this country will break and everybody will be out of work and it'll be a financial collapse that we won't survive. It happened to the Soviet Union because they were communist and the government was funding everything, including the Cold War. And the Cold War is part of the reason why Social Security and Medicare are in financial trouble, because the government had to get money from somewhere to fund the Cold War. So, costs money. So the United States has produced riches beyond anyone's imagination ever thought would be possible. And it was all squandered on government bloat, waste, theft, corruption. And it needs to stop. So the American public is supporting Trump because Trump says he's going to fix it. And Trump yesterday, when asked about deportation and things like that. He said, I'm going to do whatever the law allows. And he said, what we do will be the maximum of whatever the law allows. So the laws are, some of them are going to be a problem. But that's what we got. So that's up to Congress. Congress, a Republican Congress and Republican Senate can fix that. So right now, the other interesting thing we've seen is a lot of the usual suspect Republican rhinos that hate Trump are getting on board with his nominees. So that's been interesting to watch also. Pete Hegseth met with Lisa Murkowski this week, and Susan Collins, and I think he's meeting with Susan Collins today, if I'm not mistaken. And I already know what Susan Collins is going to do. She's going to come out of the meeting. She's not going to throw her support behind Pete Hegseth, and she's not going to deny him either. She's going to say, I needed to hear answers from him himself, some things I needed answers for, mainly the sex allegations and alcoholism. And Lisa Murkowski did not come out and say that she supported Pete Hegseth, but she didn't say she didn't either. She said that Pete will have a hearing and we'll see what happens with the hearing. So that's a yes if Pete has a good hearing. So I think most of, if not all, Trump's appointees are going to get approved, because this was such a resounding win for Trump and the Republican Party that anybody that's going to go against it at this point, even the ones that hate Trump, are going to put themselves politically in trouble, which is what we were hoping for. So Susan Collins went and made it known that she was not going to support Trump on his campaign. She probably voted for Biden. Kamala, I mean. And or she wrote somebody in, or she didn't vote. I don't know. She didn't say. But she did make it known that she did not like Trump. So, you know, and she always does what's politically advantageous. At the time, Trump was being prosecuted, and I think she was pretty sure Trump wasn't going to win. So, she's out of touch. As many of these people are. I'm gonna find my proper angle here for the camera. There we go. Sorry about that. So anyway, we have Susan Collins, who I think she's going to end up supporting Pete Hegseth because he's a good guy. And if she doesn't vote for him, it's going to be because she feels maybe he doesn't have the experience administratively, even though he has done work for veterans groups, which got something in my eye. He actually explained they tried to got something in my eye. The wind blew some dust. There we go. I think something was in there scratching my eyeball when I was blinking. So anyway, Pete Hegseth explained how he was running the Veterans Affairs kind of thing they were doing, and he said, yes, we we overspent. We overspent, and we got into debt. But he said that was when Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan were running at the time, the presidency, and he wanted to beat Obama. And he said that they overspent because they wanted to do everything possible for the Republicans to win. And he fully admitted that, and good enough answer for most Republicans. He went that little bit extra to make sure we would win. And of course Obama ended up winning. But the point is, he stuck his own rear end out there. Now the other thing is, the media and Democrats alike got a lot of backlash for bad-mouthing Pete Hegseth on his drinking and stuff from an anonymous source. So Senator Toni Ernst, I forget which state she's from, Montana or something like that. I don't know where the hell she comes from, but she is she's a rhino. It's like Murkowski and Susan Collins. You know, they all want it to be 1996 again, and I always reference 1996 because that's the year that Susan Collins won her election, became a senator. So I think she replaced Olympia Snow. So anyway, Pete Hegseth has been taking the time to explain that he wasn't just in the military. He did operations that were very dangerous, like rooting out nested terrorists and adversaries in Afghanistan. He had to break into homes and have gunfights and knife fights and kill people. And he did a lot of things that a lot of us, thankfully, are never going to have to do. And the backlash comes from people like, why are you criticizing this guy for getting out of the military and having a few beers, having fun after what he went through? I don't think there's a serviceman alive who's a combat veteran and didn't do the same thing. Because, you know, for a year, 2 years, I think he served 3 tours, 3 years, where, you know, you go into a place and you have this routine you do every day, and it's all structured, and, you know, then you get out of the military and now you're back to being a civilian watching Saturday morning cartoons and stuff, and it's a weird adjustment from what I've heard. So it's like, it gets to the point where, like, are you guys just soiling him because it's a Trump pick and you're willing to take a dump on veterans? And that's what it looked like. So they've really lightened up on that. So they've turned to Tulsi Gabbard. They're going to go through the whole list, and, you know, make no mistake, RFK is going to be the circus. I think that's going to be the main circus they do. The Democrats are going to want to kill it, well, not literally, okay, I'm just saying, be careful what I say with the algorithm. They want to ruin at least one nomination for Trump. Just to say they did something, I guess. But they have to be careful with RFK. Very careful. And in fact, I would advise them not to do that. At one point, 30 to 36% of Democrats liked RFK and would vote for him if he was the candidate. Which, in my opinion, if he had been the Democratic candidate with the full media machine behind him like they were, and all the money that they put behind Kamala, I really think RFK would be president right now. And the reason why I say that is he would have been a breath of fresh air from the usual suspects the Democrats put forth, like Hillary, You know, that's that old establishment. He's not a part of that. So he tried to run as a Democrat, and they forced him out. Filed lawsuits against him, they ticked him off. So a lot of the people that were going to vote for RFK voted for Trump, even though they didn't want to. Or they would have rather, let's put it another way, they would have rather voted for somebody else other than Trump. They don't really necessarily hate Trump, because they wouldn't have voted for him if they did. So, kind of an interesting dilemma. So they can't really go after him too hard. So they are going to have to be careful with that. So we'll see what they do. Kash Patel is qualified. He's had very important jobs in the Pentagon with the Defense Department in Trump's first term, and he did a good job. So he shouldn't have any problems. So we will see what happens. Oh, you can't smell that, but I can. Somebody's got a wood stove going. You can smell the wood burning in the wood stove. Oh, right there. See his chimney? Got smoke coming out. Smells nice. I like that. That's the guy that's got a Trump sign in his yard over there against the tree. That was a nice view. We did have a lot of rain yesterday. Some places in Maine were supposed to see 4 inches of rain. I think we got about 2. So some of the low-lying areas outside the foothills, the interior of Maine, as you can see the running water here cut this channel over here. So some small townships are going to experience some flooding. Little brook down here little brook is brooking. The brook is brookerating. So I'm just happy to be able to walk today, which is nice. I don't have to worry about my hands getting cold. And this is that same place we were going earlier this summer, and it was bone dry almost. And now it's flowing again. Windy today. So we didn't lose the power last night, so that was good. You've been seeing on the walk here with branches on the side of the road. We did have a lot of wind. Stuff out of the road. It's always off the pine trees. Very fragile pine trees, and this is the pine tree state, literally. No shortage of pine trees in Maine. It's definitely starting to feel cold. Even on this walk, there's a cold front going through right now. Now, tomorrow's Friday. See what the temperatures are going to be. Now, if we can get some temperatures around 30 to 35 with no wind, I'll go for a walk. But if it's windy like today, tomorrow, I won't go for a walk because it's too cold. Now Saturday when we go shooting, in the morning when we go shooting, it's going to be about 15 to 20 degrees. But the forecast is for bright sunshine with no clouds, and wind is going to be about 1 to 3 miles per hour. Nothing. That is always good. You wear something black like I am now, and you warm up in the sun. So if it's 20 degrees out, it feels like 35. It'll be nice, as long as there's no wind. Wind is the big problem. Like right now, I am soaked with sweat. And now I'm starting to get cold because that cold front's going through and it's windy. And you can see how fast the clouds are moving. You can actually see them. So, we'll mosey on, finish the walk, say my goodbyes up around the corner. So anyway, the last bit I'll leave you with is I was watching a kind of a roundtable conference at some kind of place that the mainstream media had rented out. And they had various people in the media speaking. And Van Jones of CNN was talking about the media and how Trump won. He said that he had asked his kid who the most influential people in the media were, or influential people, and he reeled off names of people that he never heard of. And they were all people that Trump went on, like that young guy Aiden on Twitch, and reached all these people that the Democrats couldn't reach because they used the regular media. Then Van Jones was honest. He said some of these streams are getting 14 million viewers. 14 million viewers on a live stream. And he said CNN is doing about 1 or 2 million. And he said Trump was just better at that than the Democrats were. And Kamala Harris tried that, but they went on the stupid shows. So Democrats got an ass kicking. Make no mistake about it. They're going to change how they're doing things. We just have to wait and see what they morph into. I'd like to see them just morph into a regular, like Democrats used to be. Support the Constitution, get rid of the woke bullshit and diversity this and racism that. Just get rid of it. It's poison. Just run on policies. And when a Republican disagrees with your policy, don't call them a racist. It's really quite simple. That's literally all they have to do, is actually just come up with something, a plan, run on it, and keep your promises once you get elected. I don't think there's hardly very many people that honestly believed Kamala Harris was going to do everything that she said she was going to do. She came across as saying what she had to get elected in swing states. And that's why they lost. They think people are stupid. They think voters are uneducated morons. And, if you're trying to win an election in a swing state and you need some of the independents or people that voted for Trump, you don't spend all your time saying people that voted for Trump are morons, toothless idiots, uneducated buffoons, and expect them to vote for you. So that was another mistake they made. Going after the Trump voter was a mistake. I don't know why they thought that would work. They need to stop accusing people of being a racist if they support somebody that's a Republican, because it's not working. They tried to tell the Latinos, if you vote for Trump, you're voting against your own best interests because he's a racist. and you're supporting racism. They tried that with Obama, tried that with black people. You know, like if you don't vote for Kamala, you're not really black. That doesn't work anymore, and I'm not sure it ever did. But Democrats had their ass handed to them, that's for sure. And they need some new blood, young blood. They need a different voice. And you're still going to hear things that are going to kind of make you go, yeah. But they're not going to go with that cancel culture kind of stuff, from what I understand. From the rhetoric I've seen with these younger Democrats running for office. Some younger Democrats running for office won. And they didn't win by calling their opponent a racist and the people that vote for him morons. They listened to the voters. I know, new concept, right? They listened to what voters had to say, and they made adjustments, and they took it seriously. And the ones that did that did well, some of them. So the Democrats, they'll figure it out. I just want them to be an honest party. Just be honest. Right now, they are full of multi-wealthy, multi-billionaire, elitist, globalists. They're out of touch with reality. And they control the party with their money. And they control the media. They control corporate America, because a lot of them are in corporate America. Ooh, I'm really getting cold now. My face is getting numb. That got cold fast. I started out, it felt almost spring-like, 40 degrees. And now it feels like it's about 30 degrees with a wind chill of about 20. Feels cold. So I'm coming up towards the end of the walk anyway, but I want to thank you for walking with me. Click like and subscribe. Share the content. And I was very happy to walk with you today. And enjoy President-elect Trump. That's all I gotta say. We're going to see some really good stuff. So enjoy. Talk to you soon, everybody. God bless you and your family. Stay out of trouble. Stay safe. And we don't walk before Christmas. I'll say Merry Christmas now, but I'm pretty sure I'll be walking at least once or twice at some point in the near future. So depends on the weather. So goodbye, everybody, until our next walk. God bless you. Ciao now.